Welcome back to day 9 of Lock-In, and our final opening match of the Omega bracket is about to take place on that stage. It's T1 versus Furia, and of course, judging me on the desk, as always, it's the judging Mimi and the judging Achilleos. Why do you guys judge me so?
Because you do things that make us want to judge you.
I just really like shotguns.
Okay. That actually...
I'm going to leave.
Yeah. That was a banger. Okay, are you done? Are you done?
I might just bow out.
Well, it's actually going to be really rough because for our next team, I kind of think we're going to need your expertise here, Achilleos.
Well, then I'll stay.
Because it's going to be T1, a squad that comes in with a lot of promise. And if you're from, I don't know, maybe a certain hero shooter, you might recognize a couple of names on there. I
think we're allowed to
like
say it.
Carpe, Saya player. Bunchkin as well. There's a lot of names that I feel like I'm wheeling back the time here, but I'm excited for this team, Achilleos.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, this is a fairly stacked roster as far as accolades and history and playing FPS, but it's large question marks around how they're going to be able to perform here on this stage. Carpe, one of the biggest names in Overwatch, now shifting over into this game. Hadn't really been playing it because he was riding bench for the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, getting ready if he needed to step in, and he did. And when he did step in that last season, he did look quite good, but means he wasn't practicing Valorant.
That's
so
right.
Now it's been a very recent pickup for him, and the question is going to be, can he deliver? Can he find his form in this new TAC FPS game?
And what's interesting is this is a new direction for T1. Previously, they were competing in North America. 4 of the 5 players on this roster are Korean players, Korean speakers, but they were competing in North America. Now the team has picked things up, headed over to the Korean regions, competing in Pacific, so it's something new for them. But what we did see was them play in the offseason at that Ludwig Tarek event, and I'm going to be honest, it did not look that great. They had some moments here, and I want to start with some of the good, because I think they had some ideas. Their identity was around Saya player on this Neon, going for fast executes with good utility, and you can see that here. You have a stun, you send in your Fade Haunt back sight, they realize they don't have enough space, so want to push deep, a good KO flash. Saya follows it up. That is all good and well. That's all lovely, including the way that they play out this post plant. But there was also a lot of rounds where some spaghetti ended up in a place that was not the bowl, and things slipped out of their hands.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest concern. You look at this roster for the most part, and you say, like, okay, I like all of the components here. Zeta, known quantity, used to be on C9. It was part of one of the most puzzling trades that I've ever seen in my life, but he's still here with T1. You've got Saya player, excellent player, fantastic aimer, and Munchkin as well. But then it's like, okay, we have Carpe, and we're putting them on this very important role in that initiator. Is it going to work? And as Mimi was saying, things did fall apart from time to time. He's got a little bit more time now to go ahead and continue grinding with the team. They haven't been out in Korea. They've actually been in North America, kind of assessing, you know what, we think that this is going to be where we're going to get the best scrims ahead of Pacific, ahead of Lock-In. So they remained in North America and have been scrimming there ever since. It's time to see, though, if it's ready. You know, if he is going to come out here and really impress us.
Just even looking at him there, I'm just going to take a moment. He's grown up quite a bit from when I first saw him play. So it's exciting to see Carpe in this position, but you're right, Mimi, there's a lot of pressure on him.
There is, and I think that under that pressure, he didn't really live up to it at that first ever event. Again, this was a month ago. This was his first debut. His first ever official he had ever played in Valorant was that event. So there's been plenty of time to improve since then. It's just the issue is he's playing on the initiator role, a pretty pivotal one, and it felt like at times he was still very much getting used to Valorant, getting used to the utility timings. It's a very tough learn to game. It's hard to learn English, but it's a tough game to get used to in this one.
I hear you every single day, Mimi. You know what, though, guys? I want to learn a little bit more about T1, shall we? So let's go ahead and hear from Zeta and Carpe himself about T1.
안녕하세요. 저는 T1 발로란트의 제타고요. 현재 저 역할은 미니 플렉스입니다.
안녕하세요. 저는 T1 발로란트 팀에 활동하고 있는 이재혁 카르페입니다. 제가 생각했을 때 저희 T1 발로란트 팀은 충분히 슈퍼팀이 될 그런 포텐셜을 가지고 있다고 생각하고, 그리고 저희 선수들끼리 모두 서로 믿고 다 신뢰가 있기 때문에
아무래도 다국적으로 섞이는 것보다 이제 저희가 한국인 로스터이기 때문에 이제 커뮤니케이션 하는데 더 편한 부분도 있고, 먼치킨 선수는 저희 팀에서 IGL을 담당하고 있고, 상당히 똑똑하고 이제 에임도 좋은 선수고 경험도 있고, 그리고 카르페 선수는 이제 전향한 지 얼마 안 됐는데 타 게임에서 이제 상당한 경험을 가지고 있는 선수고 메커니즘도 엄청 좋은 선수여서 앞으로의 잠재력이 엄청 기대되고, 팀 사야 플레이어는 이제 저랑 똑같이 북미에서 같이 오래 활동했던 친구고 이제 상당히 많은 경험을 가지고 있는 선수고 이제 메커니즘적으로도 이미 증명이 돼 있는 선수고, 그리고 벤 선수는 저희 팀의 막내인데 그리고 북미에서도 활동했었고, 저 같은 경우는 이제 팀 내에서 이제 트롤링을 좀 담당하고 있는데 이제 그게 제 강력한 무기인 것 같습니다. 현재 저희 팀은 아직 공식적으로 대회를 한 번밖에 안 했지만 저희 팀 스타일은 상당히 이제 플렉서블하고 이제 적팀이 어떻게 게임하는 거에 따라서 적응을 하는 팀이기 때문에
일단 저희가 첫 경기를 퓨리아랑 하게 되었는데 브라질 팬들 앞에서 한다는 게 조금 부담감은 있지만 그래도 그런 게 오히려 더 동기부여가 될 것 같아요.
항상 T1을 응원해주시는 팬분들께 너무 감사하다는 말씀을 전하고 싶고요. 앞으로도 쭉 응원해주셨으면 좋겠고 저희도 좋은 모습 보여드릴 테니까 기대해주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.
A lot of hope for this T1 team, and as they should, because they have put together, Mimi, a very solid squad that can perform in the Pacific region. We know the potential of these players because we've seen it before.
I mean, I've been a little bit of a doomer about what we saw from them in the offseason, but you look at the player quality on there, and there should be expectations for this squad to be good. You have Saya, you have Zeta, you have these Korean players who, in North America, really made a name for themselves as being fantastic individually. Again, it's another one of these teams where it's about how do they put those pieces together.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, honestly, going back to the initiative you talked about with Carpe. It's about finding those util timings, knowing when and how to utilize them to get the maximum value out of them. I don't have to worry about Carpe's aim for the most part. The guy knows how to click heads. So that's not my concern at all. It's more about have they really grinded in and gotten these set plays together? Has he really mastered this role now?
Well, while Carpe can most definitely click on some heads, I mean, let's be honest, when you want to talk about some great aimers, you also got to talk about their opponents taking the stage across from them. It's going to be Furia, and this is a squad that oftentimes has to play second fiddle, Mimi, here in the Brazilian region to the likes of Loud. But this Furia team, man, they can frag when they get unlocked.
They really can, and that was their story throughout 2022. They were always looking solid in regional competition in Brazil, and they were always able to make it close to qualifying to international events. But for most of that time, there's only one slot for Brazil. They had to wait till Champions for playing that LCQ to actually get a slot to make it internationally. And they've been here twice before, 21, 22, both Champions. They've been involved, and they've stuck by their core roster. They've only made one change in the offseason, introducing MW Zera. So it's a team where I think, unlike a lot of these others, we kind of know what to expect, but we're hoping for more.
Yeah, just some slightly elevated performances here from the side of Furia, but they did still impress us at the Champions. I mean, pushing DRX into an overtime on their ascent map there. Of course, I'm going to mention them. It's the last time you have to hear about it.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
worry.
it. I got one day.
But, I mean, yeah, they did have some really strong performances. So this is not a team that you absolutely, especially for T1 coming in with, you know, this roster.
Oh, you should not sleep on this
You
squad
absolutely cannot afford to sleep on it. But even if Furia win this and they go into the next round, you don't want to be sleeping on them as their upcoming opponents. You know, you just have to show respect because that's when they're going to catch you off guard. That's when they're going to be able to beat you.
Yeah, this B-roll we're watching is from Champions 2022. Their game versus Fnatic. They took Icebox against Fnatic, and that is no small feat. That has always been Fnatic's absolute best map. They came out with a good game plan. The individuals were popping off. They managed to take that map, but they didn't convert it into more. It's another one of those squads. We've seen them internationally. They've been an upset team. We've always felt like they've been a step away from something clicking, and now we have to see if this change with MW Zera coming in is the thing that makes them click.
Well, you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and put the spotlight, though, on MW Zera, right? Because this is going to be a lot of pressure for him. And you know, we actually did get a chance to chat with him. And a good head on his shoulders, knows what his expectations are coming into this Furia lineup, but also having to play out here, Seth. It's very clear. MW Zera is ready to take the stage, and I think he can be that missing piece for Furia.
I mean, yeah, just simply hope so. But if he really is ready to take that stage, get out there in front of all of those screaming fans, because the audience, it's filled back up.
Just look back.
Everybody went out. They got some water. They got some food, and they're piled in and ready to go. I mean, hell, even just the screams for them when they were walking off the stage.
Yeah, they were leaving the stage.
Yeah,
and
the
they were
crowd starts going absolutely crazy for him. That is a hell of a lot of pressure. Again, even though you know that they are cheering for you, that sometimes can still shake you up a little bit because there's just so much noise going on.
Yeah, but talk about strong individuals. MW Zera is one of them being added to this roster. He's had an interesting arc. In early days Valorant, he was playing dive duelist roles. He was really a star. I mean, we had people like, I think like Wyatt was really selling the stocks of this guy when he was competing in Brazil. Then he kind of has a renaissance, starts playing on the initiator role, makes it to that international event, and now heading into this team with Furia, his coaches really kind of hyped him up for being so incredibly flexible and so strong on every role.
Yeah, and what is going to be, I think, the intangible of the situation here, right? As we had alluded to just now, the crowd, it's filling up. We saw what happened with MIBR. I don't want to say that they, crumbled under the pressure of the crowd, because I think there was a lot of other things happening in that game, Mimi. But for Furia, there's always going to be that added expectation to go up on that stage and do the job.
We did talk to them, GB, and when we heard from MW Zera, he said that he didn't feel like it was an added pressure. He felt like, if anything, it could be a buff for this team, something that they can harness. They haven't played any off-season events thus far because they wanted more time to practice. That's been the idea behind this squad, so we'll have to see what that practice has made.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that. You can say, oh, yes, we're gonna vibe off of that. It's going to fuel us, but you never really know until you do get out there and you are in front of those fans.
I'm sure MIBR felt the same way going in.
Yeah, still fairly, a fairly unknown quantity. So we'll see if they are going to be able to roll with it and use that to drive them forward.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating dynamic that we have here in São Paulo. But just like we do with every other team, let's actually go ahead and meet this Furia lineup and check out what they're all about.
Fala rapaziada, meu nome é Douglas, meu nick é DGzinho, eu sou duelista da Fúria. Falando dessa nova Fúria, depois da contratação da MW, eu acho que a gente vem com muita mais personalidade, mais confiante no que a gente faz, no que a gente está produzindo.
Meu nome é Leonardo, no jogo meu nick é MW Zera, tenho 21 anos, eu jogo de iniciador e jogo pela Fúria. E uma qualidade que eu tenho é que, independente de qualquer situação, eu sempre acredito que dá pra ganhar de qualquer time, de qualquer pessoa que tá contra.
A minha confiança ela é sempre muito alta, porque eu sou um jogador que trabalha muito meu individual. Eu sempre tento pensar, todo mundo tá lutando por um propósito, então eu não gosto de merecer ninguém, mas dentro do servidor eu não consigo ter respeito contra nenhum deles. A experiência que eu obtive no último campeonato, no último mundial que a gente participou, foi muito importante, porque me fez amadurecer e crescer como jogador e como pessoa. Eu já joguei diversos tipos de campeonatos, mas aquele foi o maior, então realmente consegui ter uma ideia de quão grande é o mundo e quão grande é as pessoas que jogam lá fora.
Acho que a diferença do nosso time para a Loud e a MBR, com certeza, é o individual de cada player. Quase todas as pessoas que do cenário aqui do Brasil, até de fora, sabe que o individual do nosso time é muito forte. Mandar esse recado pra galera que acompanha a gente, que sempre manda mensagem também apoiando. A gente é muito grato por isso, a gente fica muito feliz em ler mensagens boas, ver que vocês também estão com boas expectativas no nosso time. E é isso, a gente sempre foca nas mensagens positivas e isso é muito importante pra gente. Gol Fúria e vambora.
I think that final part just goes to show, and as I said before, just these players have great heads on their shoulders, but also the individual skill cannot be discounted, Mimi. This team knows how to frag.
These guys as individuals are disgusting, and they've had a lot of time, so I'm expecting more out of the coordination, but for T1, they're going to have to be on their A game against a team this strong individually.
No, they absolutely do. I mean, they're 100% the underdogs coming into this, despite the firepower that they do have, the history of these players in just playing FPS generally. Furia should be able to take this one, I think, but T1, we can only hope that they have been able to grind during this off-season after that Tarek event and then show us something a lot better now here today.
Yeah, the question is, right, have they managed to put in the work for T1? Has Furia been prepped enough so that they can take to the stage with confidence? But folks, we are ready to get our final match of the day underway. So why don't we go ahead and welcome to the stage T1 and Furia. It's the hometown heroes versus the plucky underdogs. What happens in this game is anyone's guess, but one thing is for certain, it is gonna be freaking awesome. As both teams huddle up and get ready to go, Mimi, you can already see the players on Furia. They are stone-faced, eyes on the prize, and that gives me a lot of hope.
It does give me a lot of hope, and it should. Furia are the clear favorites heading into this one. They've made it to international events before. They have performed well within Brazil, and they've made an upgrade in the offseason. For the side of T1, we know that these players have potential, but we need to see if this experiment, bringing in Carpe, his first Valorant team, being in partnerships, there's big questions on whether that'll work out.
But if there is a player that can do it, that can show up at the big moment, it's Carpe.
It has been him in history in past games. He has had that impact. When you need him the most, he comes swooping out of the darkness, just strikes fear into the hearts of his enemies and takes them all down.
This is such a fascinating best segment for us because we've seen him and casted him in other games, so we know what he's capable of, Mimi, but I do not blame you for being skeptical of this.
I'm skeptical because he did not look particularly good in that off-season tournament, and because Fury's not going to give a damn about your accomplishments in the past. Sure. All that matters is how you play today.
I think the biggest thing right there as we get ready to go into the map draft is the words from Autumn, the coach formerly of Cloud9, chatting with these players, getting them geared up for this series. You can only wonder what he did say to them in that moment, but hopefully it's enough to inspire some confidence and a strong performance because T1, they have the first map pick.
Here we go into the maps. It'll be Pearl, a selection for T1. This was a map that they were picking, or that they were willing to play quite a lot in that off-season tournament, and it's one that they looked solid on. They were playing with Saya player on that Neon. The main thing I'm looking for is better coordination on the initiator utility when they play that map.
Icebox gets locked in here for Furia. T1 will go for the attack there to start things off.
I mean, unsurprising, we were talking about it, able to take down Fnatic on Icebox just back at Champions.
Makes sense.
Split is going to be banned away, but obviously we've been seeing a lot of different looks on Icebox, so curious to see what Furia have prepared today. Either way, still feel very confident with it. That means that Fracture is going to be floated here at the end, as Split and Haven get taken out of the equation.
Another map that in that off-season tournament, T1 was very comfortable in playing. They actually picked it twice in both of the matches that they played at the LTI, so it is interesting to see them float that one a little bit further. Questions for me are, how do Furia go about the roles? What are they thinking here? What is MW Zera going to be playing? Because I think this roster has a lot of flexibility built in.
That does give me a lot of pause if you are a T1 fan. Because how do you even prep for this? How do you even get ready when you don't know what your opponent is going to be bringing, because they have that flexibility and most importantly, they have that skill. Here's a Prime Gaming agent select, so that question's going to be answered right now. Let's see what we get.
Carlisle in the offseason said that he did not want to play offseason tournaments. He's the coach of Furia and instead just wanted to focus on practicing. What have they cooked up for Pearl?
It's a bold move, but so far, Zeta going to be picking up that KO. Saya over to the Jet, something that we love to see. Shoutouts to everybody who's a fan of the guard, but who is on there. And Carpe still going to be sticking with the initiator, of course, so the Sova is in, but there's a Cypher on the other side.
Yeah, but this is going to be a change. This is off the Neon. This is back to the Jet. This is a new approach to Pearl for the side of T1.
It's going to be awesome. The crowd is hot. Everyone's ready for this one. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters for T1 versus Furia. It's going to be Bola and Dr. Doug Respect.
Professor Respect.
We're always so ready
to
start, and then he throws something like that at us.
I don't know how we respond to that. We also don't really know what to expect from this match, right? Sure. Again, there's so much history between these rosters individually, right? You've talked about like history in different games. Now they're all merging in Valorant in front of a home crowd, which is popping off, by the way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be excited for this match.
Yeah, I think for sure. And to watch Furia against a team here with the Brazilian crowd behind them as well, it gives me parallels to the last game we had in the Alpha bracket with MIBR and Talon.
1000%.
Because it's a Pacific team here against the Brazilian team. And let's see what T1's cooked up in the offseason. Furia, only one change. T1, an entirely new roster.
A roster that's such a heavy point of discussion because you look across those names and you go, these guys are really freaking good individually. This roster should work. Yeah. Right, but there's a lot of tempered expectations with this squad for whatever reason.
I mean, first and foremost, right, it's a roster full of Jets.
Yeah.
In prior iterations of whatever teams they've been on, Ben is the import from North America, and now he's playing Killjoy. Let's see how this goes right now, right off the bats. A lot of A main presence for Furia. And you can see some aggression as well from T1, tempered up towards mid, starting to slow peek it.
It looks like a little bit of defensive pressure coming out from T1. Saya, the first one out, with a little bit of help close by. But it seems fully spread out so far. Carpe's already taken a considerable amount of damage here.
Yeah, but that might have been enough for Saya to have some space to really do some damage here.
Oh, but he's not expecting this peek out from MW0.
No dash either.
First shot goes big wide, and yeah, the timing there was so brutal for Saya. Opening kill in this series goes to Furia.
And they still have a lot of control, both A main and B long in their hands. But T1 has the right read. They're stacking over towards A with 2, maybe 3 players. And I'm wondering if QCK is going to do something over towards long. Yes, he is. Just pulled out a smoke from Munchkin right now.
And the timing here is everything, right? If you are going to draw rotations, that's the way to do it, but not the case. They stay disciplined on A, and that's exactly where the hit's ending up. Band gets one with the turret.
Those mollies are melting. And they're still trying to get through. Finally, the other player from Furia is joining. Only 20 seconds to get this spike down, though.
He's going to have to find some space in art as the spike continues to work its way forward. Now 15 seconds left. Spike still not planted. Band's already fallen. Carpe 13 HP left as MW0 does manage to get the spike down. Oh, he doesn't! The peek there from Carpe was gorgeous. Zeta does it as well. 5 seconds left on the round. Bodies fall all over the place as T1 get the pistol.
Chaotic round where Furia seem to have a lot of control, but T1 makes the right read. They stay leaning towards A, and they don't rotate off of the little pressure that QCK was making towards B long. Carpe just swings that smoke. That angle was really tough to deal with if that smoke's not perfect.
And remember, it was Carpe who took that huge chunk of damage at the very beginning of the round.
Yeah.
Stayed alive long enough to save the round, really.
And the composition switch that Mimi was alluding to as well. Very curious to see if T1's going to continue the same sort of thing that we just saw in that pistol round, because that was a big part of their strategy. But it was with Neon instead, so you have a lot more stun capability and control capability than what you have right now for Saya with the Marshall. It's a good shot.
Very nice shot.
Easy when there's no armor on the other side.
You know, there was so much discussion around Saya individually, and specifically as we think about his time previously in his Valorant career, and you know, is he flexible, right? Can he play different roles? Can he play different agents that are more meta-specific and still continue to thrive? And the nice thing about this meta is Saya doesn't have to worry about all that anymore, right? He can play the Jet, he can play it comfortably, and I know it's pretty early on, but historically we've seen him look so much better on this Jet role. And it's a cleanup here from T1.
Just peeking right behind the molly too. Everything looks good. They'll even get a smoke down. No, actually. It's a big pick from Digizin. They don't really have anything else to follow up with this though. And they still have so much art control T1 does. That dash gets him across though, and that's a big frag.
It's a massive frag as Band gets another. Saya with another shot straight through DGZin, and you know, again, we think about the circumstances of the round, and you want T1 to get out of that as cleanly as possible. And yeah, they dropped 2 guns, but by and large, all is well.
And you know what's interesting about the stat on the screen right now? Sure, longest standing org in Valorant, but this is the first time they're fielding a Pacific roster.
Yep.
An org that has so much history over in Korea, in League of Legends.
With a little NA left there. Again, Zeta was there.
Yeah,
Zeta played for Cloud9, Saya as well. Looks like we got a tech pause. We'll get this figured out. We'll get you all back into the action as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, for as long as they've been around, and they've been around a long time. That was a whole lot of days on screen. I don't remember exactly.
Over 1,000 is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's absolutely outrageous when you consider how long the game has been out, even, and you know, things of that nature. There is a deep-rooted history of T1 in the books of Valorant and what we've done so far. And yeah, for them to be here, as you were saying, now representing the Pacific region is a ton of fun to watch.
Gear tech pause as well, so something on stage. And Furia is actually different, right? They started a little bit later in 2021, and it's been a long time for them to put together something that's been super exciting. Yes, they've had Champions appearances both years, and I think in Champions 2022 they actually looked like they definitely had room to not only do some damage there, they had that series against DRX that I think everybody remembers, that comeback by DRX, but they had players who were absolutely frightening. The big change is NZR for MW Zera now. As NZR goes on to Leviathan, there's definitely opportunities for this team to do damage this year. But I'm gonna say it has to start now. It has to start with this one series, because I think people want to see a competitive Furia.
You see some of those people who want to see a competitive Furia on your screen right now as we get through this tech pause. Again, back into action as soon as possible.
I like the predictions from the crowd, okay?
Yeah,
2-1 Furia, QCK MVP. Very possible. I'm looking at DigiZin though, as the player to lead the charge for Furia if they want a chance.
Yeah, I think he has to be, especially on Pearl, on the Neon role, which it's interesting because we've seen the meta kind of move away from Neon on Pearl. And
it definitely is, yeah.
For a lot of the reasons being, like, there's so much that can counter her. You got grab wells if you want to hit B-Long fast.
Yeah.
On attack side, there's so much that can stifle that aggression that you want to play through.
With the addition as well as Cypher back into the meta a lot of times.
Yeah.
It slows you down significantly. But also, I mean, as we've been watching the last 2 weeks, we've kind of had a difference in how the Alpha bracket approached the meta to how the Omega bracket approached the meta.
Yeah, 1000%.
So it's not like everything is set in stone. It's not like just because we didn't see a lot of Neon last week on Pearl that we shouldn't continue to see Neon. And that's what is so interesting about this game. You always have these compositional clashes. Here we go in a main. Speaking of clashes, this is what I was talking about. Sai was getting a lot of value with this on Neon. But I think right now, he's spending his dash really early, over and over. And it got him into trouble when he actually walked down mid that one round on pistol. QCK is calling everybody to come over from Furia, though, and try to hit this B site. We've got the Neon wall out. And remember, there is no Cypher to play anti-Neon. So he's just easily able to get in the back of sight.
Munchkin's able to receive him, though. He was waiting for it. The spike has made its way pretty far up, though. Look at that. They're trying to fight to clear out backside. QCK falls for it. As Zine is still trying to keep him back. 2 massive kills there. How much more can they find? Scarpe's the only one here, and all he's got is a ghost. He's going to fall as well. Furia on the board, and the crowd, they like what they see.
Yeah, great anti-bonus. Leading right into some of the disadvantages you have from T1's comp and the strengths of the Neon. That conversation that we were just having. It was a bonus, though, so T1 still has a healthy buy in this next round. We're on even footing in terms of the economy, but Mazin is the guy with the Sky ult. He's got the Seekers.
We'll see how they choose to approach this. You see the flash towards A main to continue to fight for some of that space, but again, a nice slow round out from Furia early on. They have the Seekers to work with too, as you were just mentioning.
Sai again, dash activated, but nothing found from it, and he spends it really early. So he can't be as reactive when they start to hit, but they're still holding on the art. We've seen so many times they just got a flash prime, they'll flash off of Sai's contact.
He's just waiting for it. You see Zeta on your screen there. Ready to go. There's the flash, there's a swing, but the stun should keep them back. Yeah, Zeta can't get past the defensive utility invested. And the spike ball of the spike's still back by Spawn. They're so methodical in how they want to approach this.
All those trap plays is causing Furia to be really late on any sort of control here. They have to commit all the way down through B-Link. And it's just Munchkin here. There's no rotate actually coming in, but this wall from DigiZin is actually slowing down their own push. Full retake called, though, for T1. Munchkin wisely falls back. He cannot fall, and he does.
He didn't fall back enough. He's going to fall his way into the next round. The kill is traded back, though, as Khalil falls. Carpe now playing close by. QCK gets the spike down. Note here, no real ultimates. DigiZin's is close by. QCK's is as well, but there's nothing on line right now. And they're all huddled up back Spawn. This is going to be this is going to be so difficult to deal with because you can just overwhelm backside, and that's exactly what they do. Carpe with 3 on the round. Now QCK, who was back safe long the entire time, not able to keep back the aggression of T1.
And a great double swing as well. Not only the aggression back through backhaul, and I'm wondering how they even got out of there to be able to challenge with 3 players. And then Carpe and Ban the communication there, miles better than what we saw in the offseason.
Yeah.
Just instantly pausing for a second and double swinging.
Yeah.
That's how you wrap that round up. He has to be all the way back on pillar, and he just didn't have the time, given how fast everybody fell from Furia.
And take a look at that one more time. Again, the flooding backside. DG's in was the first to fall, and then from that point forward, the pieces of dominoes just continued to tumble. Fist bumps all the way around as we prepare to get into the next one. DG's in, has that ult. It's going to be a light buyout from Furia, so you imagine he's going to want to play around that ult. Exactly. He does. See the grab ult and try to slow him down. DG's in, dashing across.
He's so far ahead of his teammates, though.
So far.
And he has to call for it to slow down right now. There's the stuns into Secret. But again, all him clearing backside right now, and he's going to go into the smoke and get punished for it.
And the Prowler cleared out Secret, but it didn't go all the way up in the dugout, so it doesn't spot Ban. Nice trade out from MW Zera.
Is this ult going to find anything? I think it only got one tag, and he gave up on finding Khalil. Low players, though. Munchkin's able to convert one. Mazin is all by himself up here. No, actually, Khalil up close, too.
Saya with the dash proc. The flash helps him out as Mazin falls. Leo playing close by with 20 HP. I mean, how much can you really ask for in a situation like that? Munchkin gets 3 on the round as T1 gets a 4.
A good retake. And Fury just a couple stages there, but they up the tempo immediately. And it's super interesting because of how you continuously had that art presence from T1 in the prior rounds. Crowd hype still, no matter what. It's a good attempt on the eco.
Man, this is such a fun fan base, bro. I mean,
I just love watching the different chants. How they could all get on the same page, too.
Yeah.
Such a fun atmosphere. And I said it before, but so much different being here live.
Furia calling a timeout early.
Important.
Yeah.
Important. They got to keep the crowd on their side. They got to keep this place loud.
And I mean, you can tell they want to get behind them. Every time one of them hits a kill, you hear the roar of the crowd just bubble up.
Yeah.
So the investment's there. They're emotionally with them. They just need to start putting some of these rounds together.
Let's see if they can do it. Another buy round on the board. One key ult for MW Zera. He's got the Nightfall, but massive key ults for T1 as well. Cosmic Divide and the lockdown. That is key for B retakes. If they end up going down B long,
yeah.
Usually it also means that it is entirely not an option for Furia unless they take through B link.
See that flash early on to fight for mid control.
Prowler immediately through B link as well. That's where they want to go. They want to pressure, make sure Ban has to either fall back or they can take him out.
And the tempo is a little different here, out from Furia, but just as much as we expect to see them take some of this early space, it just slows right back down.
Trying to find an opening. I've liked the defaults from Furia so far. It does gain them some space. It does push T1 back in a lot of instances. Like in the last round, you saw Munchkin had to fall back, play retake. But when it comes down to the executes, outside of the one round they won, they got that wall up, fast lane down B long. It's been tough. That dart did not scan QCK. He's hidden behind a box. And Saya, misinformation from the dart.
The Nightfall used the knife to try to trade some of it back, and it is going to delay for just a moment. On top of that nade does such a good job of denying the entry point out onto the site. All they have to do is wait it out, though. They invest the Cosmic Divide as they push their way forward. You've got to keep...
All the Fury plays ahead of the wall immediately. You think you're going to be able to isolate fights, but you're not.
Yep.
Huge round from Furia.
And Ban, who was on a flank, it just took a bit too long. He's shown up at the site now, but the round's already done and dusted.
You have so much more difficulty finding value out of the KJ ults when you have to hold on to the A site, and that's what T1 really wanted to do. I like the idea for Munchkin, but you don't have the information to stick in the back of sight right there, not knowing exactly how Furia is going to react and not knowing exactly how the hit is coming either. And this dart misinformation obviously also loses them so much space in A main. The hit mainly came through art, so you can imagine if QCK goes down there, Saya actually is still in A main. That's a thorn that could split them up from that wall.
Absolutely.
And the wall's designed as well to dissuade them from getting towards that plant, right? There's no plant space available for them. At least that's good.
Blade Storm used early on.
You have to be careful here if you're Furia. I like that they came through, but this is going to be an option here that T1 will call in the future, where they play aggro off of this smoke. And even with the cam, even with the cage, it's taken a long time to re-clear through this. Munchkin knows now too, with that smoke recall.
I mean, they're certainly not trying to conceal where they're going. They drop their own Cosmic Divide, and that's going to section off everyone from the side of T1.
That's a good execute right there. Again,
Yeah,
twice
clean.
this B-long execute's going very well. The Trailblazer as well to clear out the back of this wall. You know for sure you're safe here. Now I also want to look, oh, Digizin getting aggro.
He's so aggressive. And really, that's what you want out of your Neon player.
Remember, this ult from Ban could be key to push them back off the site.
But they have two players on the flank right now. That could be problematic.
But this Killjoy ult's so far ahead, they have to speed up, and there's got Alarm Bot too.
The Alarm Bot triggered. Ban has to turn back, but DG's in from backside. He's able to clear him out. He gets 4. He's got the ace in front of him. Not able to deliver. Zeta trades it back.
Just ridiculous. Under pressure from the lockdown too. No way he's getting the ace, but he secured the round. Such a good moment from Digizin, not only to aggro immediately, but then to stick and find the timing to fight. And you have to be holding that if you're T1, because Digizin's in the back of sight. If they don't actually start swinging out of spawn, then the problem is going to be he could just break that lockdown.
Right.
It was so far advanced.
Take a look at it one more time. DG's in again, playing aggressive there, understanding where his space limitations are pushing out, but this play right here, I mean, just secured the round for Furia.
I really wonder as well if Digizin's calling for that B-Link to trigger the Alarm Bot. A lot of times the flankers are waiting for the KJ to die in that case so they can go undetected. But there, you want him to get triggered. You want him to start rotating and looking back towards it.
Beautiful execution regardless. DG's in once again has that ult online. And we didn't see very much out of the Blades from Saya. He made an attempt, but he's got a Marshall this time around. Oh, the Marshall seems to work! My gosh, I thought he hit it.
Oh, for sure. That's just a ridiculous attempt from Saya. But low economy makes this even more. Carpe's tucked in an off angle here, but they're also taking up through art. Kalo might give up a gun though. And he does.
Nice
Easily.
shot out from Carpe, yeah. It's a pesky little angle too.
Silence here. The spike is deep in secret actually. Oh, you gotta be careful. Especially with the A main presence still. Furia right now taking a massive risk.
They're just so far up. And the thing is, there's a lot of misinformation here. Look at how far up Carpe is. He's essentially in attacker spawn, so they should have no idea that they're here. That's going to get their position away. Mazine spamming through, trying to stay alive as Munchkin shows up. And he falls. Now Carpe left in this 1v3. Mazine and MW0 a little weak, but this would be, I mean, this would be insane if he was able to pull this off. The shock dart, that's all it is. We're tied at 4.
It's a good recovery from Fury, even though they lost that gun in A main. Simply put, I think Carpe goes a little too aggro here up in the spawn, right around where we're looking right now, and doesn't give enough time for his teammates on A main, or in A, the ones who are anchoring down flowers, to do much at all. These two right now, Carpe is way too far away to actually even find anything to trade those guys. Digizin immediately calling as well. Telling the team what's working, what's not. Fast A main, and I think it's the right call. I think T1 was going to start leading towards taking B long control, given what I said earlier about that setup.
And they did. I mean, look at him. Look at how far up Saya is right now.
And it's funny because it kind of falls in your lap there from Fury. That was kind of something that they were relying on already. Happy to try to fight for A main. Oh, Saya.
Deals some damage on a QCK, but he manages to get away for now. Sai is so pesky here, bro. He hasn't gone away.
Oh my goodness.
You got to remember, QCK's weak. And you don't expect Sai to hold this. You don't expect him to stay here as long as he is to fight.
And you can see the style as well from Furia, just willing to fight straight up. No flash, nothing special. They know it's just one. Let's take this duel against Saya. The confidence is clear for Furia.
And that's so key. I mean, we talk about it so many times, but confidence really is a cheat code when it comes to Valorant.
30 seconds left.
The ult invested, MW0 pushing forward, but Khalil gets 2! The flash in his face turns it, stays alive, buys some time. QCK in a great spot for a flank too, but he can't over delay on this. He's got to hit the timing just right. Zeta now left alone, surrounded, takes one with him, but Khalil with 3 on the round gives Furia the lead.
And look at that from Furia too. It's both Mazen and MW just pushing Secret together at a certain time. Knowing, okay, T1, you're gonna have to actually come up here if you wanna take this round. And this is what I was talking about with Mazen, just fighting straight up, down B long. That could end up costing you. For example, Zeta's just walking down B long, Saya takes the first engagement and then re-peeks with a flash. And then for Saya as well to be fighting straight up too, he was trying to get his dash online and save his life. And remember, it was only Digizin for the most part. Or sorry, QCK for the most part fighting that. He thought he was isolating a 1v1 too. Yep. QCK just calls, hey guys, come fight with 3.
This freaking fight took so long, there was enough time for the rotates to come through, yeah.
And also how fast that rotation came right after as well. This is the type of things that is really difficult to deal with if you're Munchkin, if you're the IGL from T1. Because it's dynamic and it happens fast. They're only in spawn. It's not like they're committed up B long. That rotation from B to A was really, really simple.
T1 call a timeout here, down 1 round. Again, still plenty of time left in this half. Time to adjust and right the ship. This buyout from T1's not going to be pretty though. It is worth noting here, they have the vast majority of their utility. Meanwhile, full armor, full rifles on the side of Furia. DG's in with the ult as well. And it's a pretty considerable lean towards A. Khalil, the only one not close by, as it's almost like he's expecting to see if Sai is going to be peeking down long again, just waiting for that aggression that they saw in the previous round.
Getting up close right now. This drone's coming in though from Carpe. Interesting, Zeta's not up here to fight with that. Potentially can fight a pick while they're dealing with the drone, but nobody peeking with it. They just get the information. I think everybody except the one who got tagged hid from that drone as well. So recall in front of them.
Talk about misinformation if that is the case. If the drone only spotted the one that was tagged. Really no idea what's on the other side, but DG's in now choosing to go forward, drops the wall. Drops his funds too, as they've got the Trailblazer to work its way forward. It is going to spot member in Secret and perhaps one in Dugout as well. No, one more time, the light buyout from T1 here. They have utility, but they don't really have the guns to work with it, and they're just overwhelmed right now. It's just Saya who remains, and he's so far off the site. He was waiting B the entire time.
That was such a cool play there. As Saya is going to try to do something here. Furia just uses the fast lane, the wall up from Neon, and the Trailblazer to try to confirm positions. And they're spamming for it and not pushing up, deciding, okay, are they stacking here? They realize, okay, yes, they're stacking, but they're playing so far back that we have the time and we have the space to get up in the site and do something with it. I really like that round from Furia. And also just throwing in those stuns too, trying to get a Trailblazer tag. The executes that I mentioned at the beginning of this half that were looking a little lackluster, ending up looking very good now here for Furia. They've got a burst of life in the last few rounds.
Ooh, he's fired up.
Somebody's got to check on him and get that guy water.
2-round lead here for Furia, and the approach has not changed. This full 1-3-1, it's very slow. We haven't seen a lot of very aggressive heavy hits. And well, if it's not broke, really no reason to try to adjust. The onus is fully on T1 here.
Again, the follow-up with the dog here. Digizin has a big opportunity, but no!
Ban's able to hold him back, but is he expecting more? He's got the alarm out to make sure he's not being pushed in from Link. He tries to turn the flash, but no, he's overwhelmed by Mazine. QCK slips in, drops Carpe.
How did he get this lurk off into the site while all that was happening in Art? You can see his camera was posted up EMEA, so he just walked out. It's falling apart here for T1.
Yes, it is. I mean, in a massive way.
And there you can't expect them to push you up through Art into sewers. That's them to kill on the ban, who was set up to try to deny this space. And they were working on collapsing onto the sites themselves. They had 3 players towards B, 2 players on A. Oh, wait a second. 2v2 immediately.
Ooh. They just lost a massive numbers advantage, and it's gotten real bad, real fast for Furia. This was a 4v2, and now it's all on to Khalil to keep him back himself and to secure the round, but he's tucked. They don't expect him there, but Khalil's not able to land the shots.
No way. That silences them. And I really think Furia thought that T1 was saving them.
Yeah.
You saw how deep Mazin pushed into the spawn, into defender spawn. Sai was just holding this. Right at that moment, right before Munchkin got the second there. And Saya switches off onto the Phantom. And finds the last kill. Oh, Sai's all around.
Oh, I mean, that should never have gone that way.
Absolutely not. Just slightly too overconfident there. And I'm not even sure. Yeah, money was definitely going to be a big factor in that.
Got a Bulldog for Zeta, light armor for Saya, who's got the up, and they are going to challenge him right off the bat. Note the angle he's holding, waiting for anyone to push through. Hasn't been spotted. Saya is able to take care of one, drops a Cloudburst, suggests that he's repositioned, but no, he's staying.
Nobody actually spammed the screens, too. That's a mistake. They're spamming the smoke. They for sure think he's gone.
Now the question is, Saya, he's shown persistence and aggression. He still hasn't been detected. He's still there! Digizin falls! Saya, he's shown so much stubbornness this half. And that's another great example.
He's got a shorty, too, waiting for somebody to jump into the wall in that little cubby. That is just beautiful stuff from T1. And actually works towards that setup that they tried to run last time. But hey, 2v4 in the prior round for Fury, or for T1. This time, let's see if Fury can do something. Somebody's stuck here. Khalil all by himself.
They finally used some utility to move Saya, and it may be too late. MWZ able to take one down. He's left in this 1v3 final round of the half, and yeah, he drops the ult, but that's all it is. The persistence from T1, from Saya, pays off to get him to a 6-6 half. Let's look at that one more time. I mean, he's able to get the first, and again, it's really well played. He drops the Cloudburst, suggests that he's gone, sidesteps the Nightfall too, so he goes entirely undetected, and it's gorgeous. Let's throw it down to the desk, see what they thought of the first half.
Couldn't agree more on that one, Doug. It was gorgeous. Saya player, man. The best line, by the way, that Doug said, the stubbornness to stay in that corner. I don't want to keep going back, but I mean, feels like I'm repeating history again.
Yep, just a little bit here, but it's tied up 6-6.
This is true.
You know, right now, it's anybody's game. The win percentages so far on this map that we've seen at lock-in, it's 48% win rate for the defense, 52% for the attack. So this is still very much up in the air as far as who's going to be able to take it.
Yeah, well, it seems like we're right on track. But one of the strengths that I was impressed with by Furia was the way that they were playing their post points. With this Neon comp, obviously, you're going to force your opponent to play retake quite often because you're getting in, you're pressuring that space. But Furia had this idea that it was just, okay, Digizin has done his job, he's gotten us into sight, and now his role is to just int as hard as he can and provide as much pressure and buy as much time. I mean, this round is the ridiculous example, where he just kills absolutely everyone. But in the more reasonable rounds, they're still pushing this guy deep, having him apply pressure, and T1 really, really struggled to shut him down and set up for those retakes that they so desperately wanted to play for.
Yeah, he's been really brutal for them on the attack to deal with, but they still were able to claw it back those last few rounds of the half. And we'll have to go ahead and zoom in once more on Carpe. as he has had a quite surprising start here. We weren't sure what to anticipate, but he comes out of this, sure, it's 9-9, but you can see the util, the timings, they have been worked on, and of course his aim still very crispy.
Yeah, it's an improvement from what I saw from him before during the offseason. I still want to see more to fully pass judgment, but I think this is the Carpe that T1 needs to start seeing to be able to wake their way back into this game.
Well, all I'm saying is, Mimi, don't diss the fish.
I would never. I was unfamiliar with his game.
Yeah, and now the fish is going to put you on notice. No, but jokes aside, though, Furia is looking good. T1 is looking good. 6-6 in the count right now as we get ready for that second half of play. And honestly, throw your notes up in the air because this is awesome. Let's send it back over to Doug and Bala.
Thank you, GB. Yeah, the notes were tossed a long time ago, right? They've been gone. And it's led for a very entertaining first half so far.
Yeah, it has. It feels very reminiscent of the offseason game for T1 as well.
Yes,
I mean,
has.
Very swingy.
Yep.
They came up swinging, then it starts to slow, and then again. And we started that on Pearl too. But this is completely different. This is a different Fury. Let's see how their defensive side, Khalil left by himself right now, but they're fighting through art.
He's got to try to get out of there. He's got to try and find some space. And it's actually Zeta who goes down first, but Saya's going so far up. Khalil's ready for it. He's waiting. He chased him down. And the snap from Ban is disgusting. He's gotten 3 on the round. It's 1v2 left for Munchkin. He's going to show up so late, and they should have spotted the spike.
Good on Ban to even give Munchkin a chance in this. Because that hold from Furia, the flood through art by MW Zera to help out Khalil, really good. Munchkin's waiting right now to give some misdirection, but at the same time, there's a cost to it, right? He's also losing information, while Furia has the opportunity to be gaining some.
And even, I mean, you can't introduce a ton of misdirection when you don't have the spike, and they know where it is. Finally picks it up. And he does still have some time here. I don't know if it's going to be enough time to fully rotate out. Munchkin's isolated it. He's gotten it down to a 1v1, and Mazine is weak. 75 HP, the snap is there, but it does not land, as Mazine saves the round for Furia.
That frenzy fire is too fast. And Munchkin will fall. Super solid pistol from Furia. So that shot from Ban, a third guy, QCK, I mean, how do you even... Yeah, thank you for showing it 3 times. That is just absurd.
Really was insane. Again, a 1-round lead for Furia. Decent gun investment here as well.
Ooh, I'm looking at Saya right now. Actually going to take a fight down B long against MW Zera. MW Zera wants none of it, though. He's the only one with a big threat. Ban as well has got the Sheriff. 3 kills he got, he could easily invest.
And you can feel the doubt and the misdirection enter the minds of the Furia players because T1's just waiting so long. DG's in, able to get past the gravity wall that should have spelled death. Meanwhile, you look at the other side of the map and Saya hasn't moved. So he's able to hold down B long, make sure nobody's pushing up. The one difference is if you're going to rotate back into him, which seems to be the case, now he's starting to creep forward. Now he can take some of that space away. But he's got to be careful here. He cannot overstep.
Oh, QCK saw him with that jump peek, and he goes for another one. He must not have seen him. That's a big pick. But still, with so much time, there's still a lot of room for Furia to actually close up the gaps. They just got to flash onto Ban deep down A. That might be misdirection, and it might leave MW Zera on an island on the site that needs to be held.
I mean, they're dropping stuns, they're dropping flashes to make sure that he's cleared out. They don't know how much more is there, but either way, there's utility that they're not going to have to take them back. MW Zera doesn't land a single shot. Oh my goodness. Finally takes down Saya. Finally takes down Saya. And things are equalized for now. 5 seconds left. They've got to get the spike down. And no, there's just not enough time. That round easily could have gone either way.
Such a good hold for MW Zera. I thought he was going to die for sure, especially after that knife hit him, and after that, he shot. You don't know which side of that back call he's playing, even if that knife tags you. So you have to use a little bit if you're T1 to try to clear it. Oh, he did not spot him.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and Saya had full information about that shoulder. Look at that. That first jump shot, you see clearly what's happening. He's able to set up his crosshair easily.
Dude, our replay observers are so good.
I mean, it's been another level right now. Just being able to see what we didn't see is such a nice touch. Oh, that shock. Trying to clear out some of the Cypher utility.
Now note here, they've used 2 info gathering tools on the defensive side already. They used the flash to get over into A main, and now the Trailblazer. Those are not going to be around for the rest of the round.
And they do have a lot of control. Remember how I was talking about Furia taking control late in the rounds? T1's done it early in B-Link. They've left Saya there with just a Vandal. He could go deep on a flank really fast, unexpectedly.
And that was the whole point of the investment in
Oh,
gosh.
That's a gun, too. Remember, this is a bonus from Furia.
They had no idea that they'd scaled up so far.
And that's the IGL as well right now. Got to formulate a new plan. I thought for sure the plan was going to go back towards A, hit the site, and give Saya an opportunity to get a bunch of kills on the rotation. At the very least, feint towards A.
I mean, he may still get a bunch of kills on this. The thing is, the timing on this is so nice.
Where's his gun? I thought he would have picked it up. MW again? No, this time he's gone. And they know where QCK is.
I mean, he gets 1 for his troubles, but he's pinched right now. He's got to understand. Band's behind him, cleans him up. Zeta gets the spike down. The timing on that was very well done.
Saya's up top, too. Not going to matter because Digizin goes down anyways, and there's players in spawn, so you know it's a possibility here.
Khalil, the last one standing here in this 1v3. He's got a Spectre to work with as well. You've got to so meticulously take care of everything in a situation like that, and it's just way too much to ask for. Furia take the lead back, and I have to stress, I know the guns were a little bit weird here, but again, the timing just worked out so well.
I have a question. Why don't ban summon Brimstone?
Why don't they?
Why don't ban summon Brimstone? This is a good audible call from T1. After losing Munchkin as well, they're able to shore up B-Link really easily, and they split the defense too. Or they split the lurk and hit from Furia. QCK up B long, MW's there in the back of hall. T1 fast up here. It was a bonus last round for Furia, so there's still a lot of weapons. Only Digizin without the op. They've taken a lot of space though. So even though QCK has to fall off site and play retake here, which is interesting given the investment of ults here. There's flank, there's B-Link control. They know there's no flanks coming. This could be disastrous for T1 if Munchkin falls again.
It's all gonna fall, and yeah, whether or not they're able to hold control on the extremities. But so far, it does look like it may spell disaster, as you just mentioned. Zeta the first one to go down. Munchkin trying to hold back the aggression from Furia and fails.
They can't even get out of below, and the stuns are huge!
Dude, they're just trapped. They've got nowhere to go. Band's the only one alive now, and he's got 72 HP. He's able to drop the turret. The spike did go down, so he's got time on his side.
Got the molly off too. They can't actually start sticking that spike in the smoke.
I mean, surely at this point you just try to overwhelm, right? Yeah, try to take him down. That's what they do. But you could see the writing on the wall. You mentioned it earlier in the round. This could be disaster for T1, and it was. They fully lost mid control. They had full A main. Furia had full A main control. They were able to fully surround them.
Oh, what a good scan too for MW. Here's the moment. Look, Munchkin's actually trying to go help his teammate. Wow, Digizin comes out, and that costs him. He was the only person watching that flank, and as soon as there was pressure down B-long or out of spawn from Furia, he says, okay, maybe I need to start helping them, right? There's players falling on the site. Specifically, Ban falling on the site cost that alarm bot too, so he doesn't even have something to peek off of. That timing works out really nice for Furia.
And that seems to be a trend. Again, the timing for Furia.
Such a cool knife, by the way, landing inside of the wall there.
Yeah.
Completely unbreakable.
Start to see a shock dart. Zeta gets the flash ready to go. And Saya player dashed onto the site, finding cover. Oh, he got haunted, yeah! How? Mazine trying to splash and spray and stun and stay alive, and he takes 2 down with him. Now this 4v2 in favor of Furia. The spike once again in a precarious spot, well out of reach of the members of T1 that remain.
Flash flood and stun out of Furia is ridiculous from Art. What a strat. And QCK playing up to the smoke. He actually gets taken out though. Ooh. Work to be done, but not gonna find it. Furia, they're starting to really, really look good, especially on those A hits. That was a classic T1 execute. That looked so good for them leading into this match. But shut down, and same thing from the pistol, remember, I mean, that haunt as well. Fade's really falling out of favor for a lot of teams, but MW is making it look really, really good right now.
Oh, 100%. Haunt, Saya down, and then Mazine able to get 2 massive kills off of that.
And normally I would criticize T1 for, not breaking the haunt or what have you, but when there's so much going on, and that's influenced by how much utility Furia is throwing, it's difficult in those situations, and Digigen's just having free reign right now.
They've had a chokehold on A main for the majority of the half. Oh, they're not done. The flash and the sun.
This. The Trailblazer pushes them back. He's not going to continue forward. Saya! He's gone too.
Yeah, and that was the only real window they had. Saya needed to find space and needed to find value through Art for them to be able to unlock A, but that fails too. It seems like they're going to try once again. Nothing but Sheriffs, and they're there, and they're waiting, and they're dead. A prime game flawless comes through for Furia.
Anti-eco success has been key to keeping T1's economy down very low. He's just walking up. Not a care in the world, and that's before that knife. Remember, I just pointed out how that knife unbreakable, but also because it comes so late, because you have to arc it to get in that lineup in the first place, you're not getting the information, so you have to play back. That's where Digigen strikes, within that little timing window.
I mean, again, you can see it on your screens. The crowd fired up, and for good reason. Furia managed to get through the early struggles to now take a pretty comfortable lead late here on Pearl. And it is a timeout from T1. Perhaps a Hail Mary on this map, too. This time's not on their side. They're running out of windows of opportunity to get back in this game.
I have to note, too, at the beginning of this game, I looked around in the crowd. It's like, oh, there's some gaps. It has filled out. We even have a section up in the top that normally wasn't open to fans.
It might be the rowdiest spot, too. All right, timeout done. Again, an 11-7 lead here for Furia. We'll take a look at what T1 have to work with. And they're considerable ults. You've got the Hunter's Fury, the No Command, and then the Cosmic Divide to try to work your way into a site. Momentum fully in favor of Furia here. This isn't map point, but it kind of feels like it in a way. You've got to execute here if you're T1.
Not a true anti-KO ult set up for QCK, but he is some distance away from his trips and his camera in Art and A-main. Oh, the dash to flash! The QCK covers.
Saya player falls. They've fully lost B long control as well. So again, it's going to be a foot race. MW's how much do you stay in the smoke? Because there's everything right in front of you. He gets one, the second not falling. Massive awareness from Carpe to turn around and clean things up for now.
The cages are still up right now for QCK. As soon as the suppress stops, Digigen as well on the flank. Seeker's coming in too.
QCK has to find the timing here if you want to push your way forward, because all attention has been drawn back towards A-main. Digigen swings around with the ult and finds 3. No ban left alone in this 1v3. Again, time not at his side. His health isn't either. Digigen gets 4. Furia on map point.
And the crowd erupts as well, knowing one more round away from taking the first map in emphatic style. No A-main control. whatsoever for T1. So focused on trying to make this push through artwork. And they're able to flank so easily.
I've been historically very critical of Neon on Pearl as the meta has evolved, but DG's in is showing stuff that's different. He's still able to apply the same amount of pressure that you would expect from when Neon first kind of had the surgence on this map. And it's just proving to be too much for T1.
I have to also, I talked about in the cast yesterday for EDG, just the fundamentals with Pearl. You're seeing players get so good with it. There he's using the timing and the speed that he can break the timing. Actually 2 rounds in a row now, and now he's using an op too. It's just so unpredictable about what's happening.
Again, full B control lost for T1. So they're going to have to deal with the pressure that's going to be coming in from all over the place, and that's why you see it. You've got Zeta, who's playing a little bit further back. The lockdown's been invested to try to clear out some space, and they're playing just on the outside of it, waiting to pounce. Saya dashes onto the site. How far do they go? They still have plenty of time here. This is such a cheeky round out from T1. Look at where Munchkin is. Look at where Saya is. Khalil has to be aware, and he is.
How? How is he aware? It's ridiculous. Scans coming through the flash as well. They're full blind.
Oh, they're in so much trouble, but the kills get traded back. MW0 cleans it up. Pearl goes in favor of Furia. Again, the crowd fully jubilant as they take the opening map in this series. And honestly, Bala, it's not just about that map. They have plenty of reasons to be smiling. Furia looks so good.
And they do it with no information either. That's just pure practice in the offseason. And MW looks good on this roster.
Yes,
and
he does.
The Fury that we saw at Champions still continues. DJSin is such a good player. 21 and 13 for him on this game. And I'm so excited to continue to watch as we go on to map 2.
And it was, I mean, we'll see how it plays out in map 2, but it's just so much fun to watch how Furia understood their positioning in the series. They knew when to apply pressure, and it was surgical.
This is so fun, man. Look at this. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. Up next is Icebox. Let's go watch this.
B. One ended. This.